Well, the Singapore Grand Prix has been run. George Russell rises from the ashes and secures victory. Max Verstappen comes home second, and Lando Norris controversially takes the podium. Yes, Lando finally gets more aggressive and starts really fighting for this championship. But has McLaren decided that Papaya Rules only apply to Norris and that Oscar is just, he can just stay in the corner? Welcome to the Valve Bounce. Damo, we are pissed.
Well, I wonder if Oscar is questioning if Alpine might have been a better decision in the long run. At least he would have been number one driver there, mate.
No, come on. That's one too far. I'm sorry.
Bridge too far. Fair enough. No. I thought I'd throw it out there, but yeah, I understand. Error of my ways. Well, yes, we are all angry as hell, and it's not just the Aussies. It's everywhere. Where basically, unless you are in the Lando camp, and I guess this is a good segue to kick off, those who are in the Lando camp seem to want to defend him. But this is not a Lando issue. This is not a Lando issue, right? Lando finally did what everybody's been asking him to do. Get more aggressive. Treat it like you actually want to win. You know, you can't be handed the win. And then when he goes and does that, oversteps the mark a little bit, of course, right? But, you know, at least he went for it. It was decisive. It was aggressive. That's what we wanted him to do, right?
Exactly. It's not Lando's fault. He went for the move. The move was on. I'm never going to deny him that. But it's McLaren not treating both drivers under the same framework, right? So they're letting this weird tension build up, and the F1 community's starting to feel it because, let's say, Twitter's gone a bit psycho, and Facebook went off, and Instagram wasn't much better. So people are upset, Damo. So,
well, they're making it worse too, McLaren, because like they're not addressing any of that noise online. You know, like the fans are basically screaming about the favoritism. You know, McLaren put up a post, and it was titled like POV World Champions, about the, you know, going out onto the podium with the backdrop. Yes. And basically the next half a dozen to a dozen were all about, well, that wasn't Oscar's POV. He was in the media center, and that was just scathing. But they're just not, like, no one's coming out and addressing it. And it's just this unwritten rule that's like that basically everybody can see what's happened, and they're not addressing it and saying, yeah, okay, that was not the case, and giving the answers that they need to. They're just saying nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. Meanwhile, Oscar's out there fighting for, you know, on track and behind the scenes with the team. It's freaking outrageous. Like, yeah. What if he gets told, hey, Lando should have switched back, our bad? What happens next time? You know, he's in a position for a win. Does he hold back, or is it like, you know, just let's take him out? Like, I mean, I know I said to you, like, if it's me next time out, I'm fencing him. Yep. Fuck him.
Well, I mean, it's a good point, because Oscar, it didn't seem like it was Oscar, the normal Oscar that we're used to. And so I sort of get the feeling that he was actually leaving more room than he would normally consider because it was his teammate. And that is probably part of that frustration that Oscar was feeling about, well, you know, like, where are these Papaya rules? What's the one rule that they, you know, everyone was talking about the rule set, and what is it? What does it mean? And both drivers are on record as saying, well, there's really only one rule. What's that rule, Steve?
It's don't hit your teammate.
Yeah, it's not.
What did he do?
Yeah, don't hit your teammate unless you overcook yourself and then you're trying to avoid Verstappen in front, and then you can hit your teammate. That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
No worries. That's okay. Hang on. Zach, help! I hit him. Zach, help!
He's got like a little button on the steering wheel. It's just like this little buzzer goes off. Zach's like, "Don't you do it?"
Just hang on. I just got a phone call. It's coming in now.
Oh, yeah.
What's that, Andrea? What's that? Yeah. So you screwed him? Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Got it. You just can't say that to the media. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right. So you're just saying that you fucked Oscar over is essentially what you're telling me. Oh, yeah. No worries, mate. Look, next time out when Oscar bins him, don't want to hear from you. Thanks, bud. Bye.
Yeah. See you, mate. Bye. But it's exactly right. Like, it just leaves us in this lurch, and I think that the real issue that everybody's upset about, and that, you know, the British media and Sky News and all of those that are sort of saying like there's nothing should have been done, is that the general public are angry at McLaren because they're not applying these so-called rules or this racing thing at all. They're not applying them fairly, and that's what everyone is upset about. Yeah.
Look, if I'm honest, if I put on my hat right now of like the team and everything else, the actual decision that they made this time around is the correct decision. The issue that has been created by the team is simply like Monza's probably the best example of this. That switch should never have occurred. And nobody would be, there'd still be a little bit of niggle, but nobody would be going in as hard as they are right now.
Yeah, it was the trigger point, wasn't it, for them to make that call, because that, again, was against what they had all agreed to as a team, that a pit stop was not part of that, the racing stuff. So there was basically no need. And so whoever made that call, and as a team they all agreed with to make that switch, have basically started the fan uproar, if you like. But yeah, look, I don't know what else we can say, because it feels like it's falling on deaf ears a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, it does. I mean, we can bash the team all we want.
And I will.
Yeah, and you will. Ultimately, it comes down to now that Oscar has to take his bat and ball, and he has to play his own game. It's no longer Papaya Rules. It's not, you know, we'll be nice here, because I believe you probably have a list there, Damien. But it's you can't. He's never getting paid back for any of the good deeds that he does for Lando. And a few people have tried to argue the point, say, oh, but Lando helped him last year. Lando did shit all last year. I'm sorry. That doesn't even count. We're in a championship position. You know, we're both are going for it. There shouldn't be these rules. Ultimately, no, they shouldn't take each other out, but they should have been allowed to race. You know, he shouldn't have been asked in Australia to slow down. He shouldn't have, actually, you go, because I don't have the list in front of me, but it's freaking long.
Yeah, well, just so I didn't miss any, and so I think we've got it all there, and it's put a post. So yeah, obviously Australia was the first one. They both had their challenges. They went off track. Oscar was by leagues and margins faster, and he was told, no, hold station. So that was the first time they kind of put the reins on him. Obviously, then in Canada, the only person to hit his teammate is Norris, and that was the first time. And, you know, that was kind of not really addressed. There was no, I'm sure internally there was discussions, but that should have been, and I believe this is where, you know, that Papaya rule of just don't hit each other is being kind of reinforced. You've got Austria, and then Oscar was basically very, like, trying to make a move, does not hit his teammate, does lock the fronts, you know, and goes off. And what was he told on the radio? Do you remember what he was told on the radio there?
This is not how we like to go racing, Oscar.
Too marginal.
Too marginal. You could have hit him there, and we were a bit worried.
And so Oscar, you know, admittedly did make the mistake, but still didn't hit his teammate, and was told, no, you've crossed the line. So, okay, so you don't touch your teammate, but you almost do, and that's beyond the line.
And by touching in the cars.
Then we've got Silverstone, right, where Oscar receives what it can be argued either way. I guess it's a fair penalty in the scheme of things, but if you look at the history of what Oscar had done before, he shouldn't have been penalised, or he should have been penalised 3 times earlier than that. And, basically that was something that was unfair. He even made the request to the team then, well, that's if you think it's unfair, then swap us back. Nope, hold stations. And then we've got, what's the next one? The famous Monza pit swap, which we've spoken about, the pit stop and then the swap, which was absolutely McLaren stepping way over the line and fixing the outcome of a race unnecessarily. Everybody knew it. Verstappen knew it, for crying out loud, And then that brings us to Singapore, which is obviously the latest in the run of things, where Lando did what he should. He went aggressive, tried to, he wants to beat his teammate, made a mistake, contact, and he's just allowed to just run free. Just go, do what you like, mate. Go on.
Yep. That's the issue. So you can't have one set of rules for one and not the other. The only person to make contact on both occasions was Lando. Oscar hasn't done that yet. So he's got 2 free hits as far as I'm concerned. And if both of them result in Lando being in a fence or a kiddie or something like that, I'm not going to cry about it. And it's not Lando's fault. This is just the coddling that has to happen for him to even be within touching distance of a championship. He can't do it on his own. He needs everything to go his way and more. And it just shows that he's not an actual champion. It doesn't matter how you look at it. And Oscar has an absolute right to be frustrated at the situation. But now is the time. Now is that time. He has to just grab a hold of his balls and not give Lando anything, not even a little bit, and just put him away.
Yep, it's the throwback for those that have been in the game for a little longer than as like we have. It's multi 21. It's whatever you want to call it. It is basically, it's not about disobeying the team orders, but ultimately, if the team aren't going to play ball, why should Piastri? Because it seems like that McLaren is holding Piastri back, and what I'm concerned of is that all of this gets addressed behind the scenes, and it's kind of like this, well, Lando did the wrong thing. We probably should have addressed it, but we're not going to. And now it's from now on, nobody can hit each other. And then Oscar's kind of left with this vacant space of, okay, well, I can't even race aggressively, so I've still got to do what I was doing. And that's ultimately going to be holding Piastri back. So he has to make the choice of, no longer do I agree with any of these. No longer do I conform, and just go and get the wins or the positions he needs to beat Lando.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, I was listening, but I was also looking for a particular post, which was from Lewis Hamilton, who literally said to Oscar, no more, mate, no more. You don't give anything back. It's just... go after it, because I think the rest of the grid sees what's going on and probably can't believe it. And and I mean, Max must be sitting there going, this is great, because eventually this is going to go pear-shaped and I'm going to be able to reap the benefits and possibly nick a championship if these boys are silly enough. The other interesting thing was saw was from Alain Prost, which...
Oh, yes, I saw this too.
He made comment... God, can I find it fast enough? Great things happening here on this podcast. We're not wasting the internet at all. Come on Lando Norris. Because he basically... similar thought pattern to me is that he needs to be coddled. No, that's not it. Come on, where is it?
Just making your editing work even harder, mate.
I know. I'll have to search for it. But essentially, he literally said that, Lando needs everything. He needs the team to give him everything because that's what he's grown up with in order for him to even be in contention, let alone actually win the thing. And that's why he said, Piastri is the right type winner if he should go on to win the championship. And I think that's pretty damning. And something that I hope Lando, not that this is a Lando bash, but I hope it's something that he realizes and just goes out and stops manipulating, because I don't think he has to manipulate much to get Zach Brown to do things that this team shouldn't be doing.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed.
Anyway.
Well,
so why could this explode, Damo? We know why it could explode, I guess, but do we see Oscar taking this into his own hands and actually doing as I say he should and fencing Lando at some point?
Well, I guess we're at the point now where it doesn't really matter what happens. I think it's going to not necessarily explode in a massive way. It could at the extremities, but we're really at the point of, okay, so Oscar then says, right, I'm just going to do what I want. I'm ignoring the team because you're working against me. In a way, that's going to explode, right? McLaren are going to fall apart. It's going to be a big impact internally. If what I think might happen, and behind closed doors, they tell Lando off and they say, we probably should have switched it, but we're trying not to interfere. But from now on, nobody can do anything, like no one can touch each other, etc. Then they're going to prevent from getting that kind of, it's not about getting something back, but just having the opportunity to be able to race and let Lando get away with things, right? So if you do that, the public are going to explode, as they already are. So I actually don't see them getting themselves out of the pickle until next year, where they can really set and redefine. We go racing, and it's everybody goes racing. And if you hit your teammate, there'll be repercussions. That's basically it. That's the Formula One cardinal rule, right? Is beat your teammate and don't hit your teammate. They're the two things that you're meant to do as a driver.
Yeah, that's all they ever really ask for. So I just think, they need to take the reins back a little bit and let it go. But I do think that if Lando starts doing silly shit like this, and let's be honest, right? So let's actually talk about the incident itself, because as I said at the start, him positioning his car where he did was fine, right? Yeah. He was down the inside out of turn 1. He ran around the outside of turn 2. They both gave each other room.
Yep.
And when they went through 3, Lando was slightly behind Oscar and knew that if Oscar got the exit, that he would have the inside for turn 4 and would likely retain that position. So he lets off the brake, rolls into the back of Verstappen, realizing his mistake, tries to avoid that and hits his teammate. That is the problem. Yeah. Right? Not the actual move itself in terms of anything else, but the desperation that he showed to hold that. Now, we want to see the desperation. We want to see him battle. But at the same time, you have an onus to be in control of your car. And you're told this in briefings before you go onto the racetrack. If you're making a move, you have to keep control of your car. And he didn't. Yeah. So for me, even though, yes, it was a minor hit and there was no impact, had Piastri gone into the wall, here's a question for you. Would there have been a penalty applied to Lando Norris because of the outcome?
Yeah, I think they've got a lot of leniency on that first lap, as the people are jostling for positions. There's cars obviously everywhere. But I think when you actually, like if he'd actually taken Oscar out and Oscar hit the wall, you would normally see the steward step in and say that was too far. I think the stewards did the right thing. It was just a jostling for position kind of thing, so no penalty. So, from that end, I totally agree. But yeah, again, it's the part that's frustrating is that McLaren aren't applying their rules internally fairly, and so that's where I still think that the next couple of tracks as well. There's not really going to be the opportunity for Oscar to put him out into into walls or key litter. You've got Circuit of the Americas coming up next, where it's just run off for days. But I truly hope. I don't mean this in a negative way, but I truly hope to really settle things down, and this goes back to trying to calm the exploding, is that they do have a jostle. Oscar doesn't back down, bumps him, and he goes off and ends up way back in the pack. And then I think you'd find that majority of people, there'd be people upset still, but I think that from a McLaren point of view, they can go, right, guys, that's enough, and we're done. And then everybody's going to be a bit happier about it. So that's where I think we're at the moment.
Yeah. So the F1 fans are right then, Damien. McLaren have a Norris problem.
100%. They do have a Norris problem. We have a British bias problem. We have a it is like, if you do yourself a favor on any McLaren post, just go back and just scroll through the comments, and you can see that the majority of people, they can see. We all know inherently deep down what fairness is, and having a just outcome, and we're not seeing it, and that's why people are truly upset. And Norris is just he's gotta now suck it up. It's his turn to be the crybaby. Just
suck
what?
It up, I hope that Verstappen does some sort of move to him and ends up in a massive incident and him out, and I will just laugh my freaking head off. Because
he owes him one. Remember, it was very clear.
Don't forget.
Yep, I'll remember that. There's no way that he was going to forget that he was right, whether it was deliberate or not. But yeah, he obviously stuffed him on his quali lap, and Max is not one to really forget. He does tend to get square. It took him, I don't know how many races. It was like 6, 7, 8 races in that year from Monaco where Sergio allegedly, I think it's been confirmed, but yeah, crashed so that he could keep his position and screwed over Max. And they said, Max, you've won the championship. Move out, let him through. And he's like,
let him through,
mate. No. Don't ever ask me again. It's like, okay.
And that's what Oscar probably needs to say next time they come over the radio and go, "Oh, Oscar, Lando had a slow stop."
Yeah, I know. And Piastri, I know it didn't change positions, but Piastri had a slow stop. So, do you want to give him back that 4 seconds that he lost in that pit stop? No,
he should have been a call straight over the blower to Lando, mate. You need to drop back 4 seconds. Because Oscar had a slow stop. Because, I mean, Oscar got within 2 seconds. Imagine if he'd had the opportunity,
Fair's fair, right?
Fair's right, fair. Yeah, no, that's exactly
the ridiculousness of the situation, McLaren.
And welcome to the Valve Bounce, where we aren't at all biased towards the Australian and don't, we love British here, and we'll talk, blissfully about all of it, and go fuck yourself. No.
All right, that took a turn for the controversial worse.
Well, I suppose we could talk this to death, but I feel like everyone's been talking this to death, so I think we've covered off the main points. Probably should just congratulate George Russell on a fantastic race weekend. The man, he just stepped up, dominated. He had that incident on Friday and recovered beautifully to get pole position, not once but twice, and with both laps. True. Yep. And he ran away at the front and was never hindered. So well done, George. Congratulations, Mercedes. You better sign him up soon.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Oh, it's weird.
Oscar
man.
To McLaren.
McLaren,
Mercedes, sorry. Yeah,
and then George, the books, wouldn't it? Jesus.
Oh yeah, that would be. It would be. And there was a couple of just quick call outs, I guess. Carlos Sainz ended up doing a sensational job after they both got disqualified, and picking his way back to get into the last points position was a great job. Lewis Hamilton call out for just playing the racing games, F1 2025, and just cutting all the corners. That was impressive.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Good on him.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. And obviously, Kimi Antonelli did a good job ending in 5th. Not so good if you compare him to his teammate who won, but still good return to form. And Ollie Bearman in 9th too.
Yeah, Ollie Bearman did well as well. Just on Antonelli, I actually think that was his strongest weekend. I know he got the podium in Canada, but as a pace for pace point of view, I think this weekend was stronger. So well done, Kimi. I think you got your blow from. You copped a whack from the team boss, and you've responded correctly. So well done, mate. And so the next one's Austin, Texas, mate. So we're back to good old America, where Dan Ricciardo's second home.
I know. Still heartbroken. 12 months on, that Singapore was his last race, and they couldn't just make it extend to United States. His second home. He loves it there, so he will be sorely missed. But it's always a good race there. Nothing like seeing that climb up the hill to turn 1 on that opening lap, and just having it narrow down and just having 6-7 wide into 2 wide. It's
stop it! You're building the anxiety already.
Ooh. But it's not anxiety if Lando gets taken out by Verstappen.
No, to be fair, we don't want him taken out. We're just having a blend. It's we don't want him taken out, but
Speak
we do
for
want
yourself, son.
All right, maybe we do.
Well, I'll talk for me. I'll be more than happy. As I said, I think that is fair. We can wipe the slate clean. Get him
Let's go with we wouldn't be sad.
True. That's a very nice way to put it, Steve. Nice.
And on that bombshell, I think we'll call it a day. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is the Valve Bounce at the Valve Bounce everywhere. Thanks, Namo, for your time.
Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao.
Go for the Bathurst. Bye.
Oh yeah.